Black Souls 2 is a very dark RPG, and what makes it interesting is how it uses the familiar concept of fairy tales to explore much darker themes about trauma, obsession and losing yourself in fantasy. The game has very explicit adult content that you can turn off in the settings, but the game was designed with these elements. So essentially you wake up in Wonderland after falling through a collapsing floor with a fake Alice. The world is a twisted version of classic stories, and your goal is to hunt down 4 nightmares to progress through the game. The game gives you 9 starting classes with different stats and abilities, but your choice does not matter much late game. The game does have an action point meter that needs to fill before you can act, so if enemies are faster they will hit you multiple times before you get a turn. Therefore speed is a very important stat. The combat itself is straightforward turn-based stuff where you and enemies trade hits. The early game can be very tough, but once you level up enough you can become overpowered and potentially start one-shotting everything. It's actually pretty manageable once you understand the systems. The world structure uses Dark Souls' interconnected design as inspiration. You have bonfires to respawn at and fast travel between. You collect souls-like items from enemies to level up and buy items. And when you die, you lose your souls. The game is open-ended, but certain areas are clearly meant for later. Now here is where the game gets much more interesting and unique. You meet various female characters throughout the game and can enter covenants with them, which works a bit like the faction system in Dark Souls. Raising these covenant levels unlocks different relationship stages. And you can increase your sanity meter through intimate interactions, but it's not required for recruitment like in the first game. There's a mechanic where you can do very explicit stuff, which I can't really mention in this video, but you probably get the idea. The game ties this into its mature content by having you soul feed them, which is not as innocent as it sounds. You can also kill any character you meet, which the game uses to tie into themes about the original dark fairy tales, and also the player choice in RPGs. It's presented as always wrong. You gain sin points that make the world worse. You lose access to that character's questline, and you get locked out of certain endings. You never have to engage with this stuff to complete the game, but it exists as part of the world's brutality. The game has multiple endings that reveal different parts of the story. Each companion has their own ending route if you max out the level, and there are other endings that dig deeper into what's actually going on in this world. The game also has a system borrowed from Bloodborne where doing bad things makes the world darker, removes music, and makes NPCs speak gibberish. It's essentially a sanity meter that shows your character losing the grip on reality. The skills are learned from vendors or found as items. The game takes maybe 15 to 20 hours to complete if you're doing everything, but you can streamline the main path faster. So if you're asking whether the game is good, it definitely succeeds in committing fully to its dark themes without backing down. Most games that try to be edgy feel somewhat juvenile, but Black Souls actually uses its disturbing content to make a point about escapism and trauma. The game can be rough around the edges since it's made by one person, but if you can stomach the mature content, it's a very unique experience. And that sentence concludes today's video. If your time was respected, a like or comment is very much appreciated.